It's time for the main event. It's the Shusha.
¿Qué onda, vatos locos? Damas y caballeros, it's your boy Dave in the 702 coming at you for that Monday night boxing recap known as the Shusha. Joining me all the way from the city of brotherly love, Philly Irish, Drew Evo. ¿Qué pasa, homie? What's cracking, Drew?
What's up, Dave?
It's Monday, man. It's spring. You know, it always is. I'm always jacked up when they change the time, bro. I don't know about you, but Sunday I couldn't even stay awake. I couldn't wait to go to bed last night. And then today I'm just tripping. I'm like, so I got a cat now, right, guys? I adopted a cat. I rescued this cat, and this cat likes to sunbathe, and the cat works. It hangs out with me while I work at home, Drew. And the cat didn't know what time it was. The cat was like waiting for the sunshine, like an hour. You know what I'm saying? The cat was like, "Where's the sun?" The cat was screwed up, Drew. The time change got my cat screwed up. All right, guys, let's get into some boxing talk this Monday night because it was crazy to have this kind of an event on Friday, trying to do my job, trying to work from home. I know, oh God, remote work complaining, man, but remote working while there's a mega super heavyweight showdown, not just one exciting fight in the main event, but the co-main. Parker coming off a tremendous win. Joseph Parker, the former world champion, fighting Zalil Zhang, the 40-year-old Chinese heavyweight contender that, in my opinion, really was coming into this fight undefeated. Then you had featherweight champion Ray Vargas, WBC from PBC days, come back to 126 after getting his ass whooped by O'Shaquie Foster. Come back, managed to hold on to his featherweight title, and nearly lose it and against this Nick gentleman, or I don't want to quote his name wrong, Drew, but nearly, in my opinion, lose his title, and maybe rightfully should have deserved that. Well, we'll get to that fight too, but there's other big news. Canelo Alvarez, Jaime Mujia, no longer a rumor. You excited about that?
You know, it's not the fight that we all wanted, but it's
a good fight. It's gonna be it's gonna be a good fight. It's gonna be good for Las Vegas. I myself am excited about it. Chicano Prophet and everybody joining us in the room. He says, "Hey, the closer we get to St. Patty's Day, the greener Drew's clothes get." And Chicano, I did notice that, and I forgot. If we do a show again on Thursday night, Drew, which we didn't do one last week, and I apologize, guys, but I bought myself a St. Patty's Day outfit, Drew. I got one. I got a St. Patrick's Day outfit, and I forgot to put it on. How lazy of me. Shout out to everybody joining us, guys. Today, I did activate this phone line, so get whatever you want to get off your chest. Hit us up on the phone line, 702-710-3627. Drew says there's a 3-minute limit. It's a 1 round, a second round, if your call is that good.
Just do me a favor, guys. Please don't put me to sleep. I'm begging you, do not put me to sleep.
Oh, stop it, Drew. Nobody. Oh, that's true. That is true. Guys, I got to remind you, I'm out on the West Coast, and Drew, it's nearly 11 o'clock, and I really should start this show a lot earlier. So if you want to, leave me a comment and let Drew and I know what time the show should start on Monday nights. The music is done, Drew. It's time to get to this heavyweight boxing on a Friday from Saudi Arabia. Not my cup of tea to be on a Friday night with such a good potential card, and the fights lived up to be pretty good, including the main event seemed very exciting for many reasons, guys. The Tyson Fury fight with Ngannou, Drew. Oh, let me get this down. This Tyson Fury fight with Ngannou left a lot to be desired. In fact, I started to see the decline of Tyson Fury and wondered if he even prepared for that fight, because Ngannou went the distance and hurt him and dropped him. And all of a sudden, a prime Anthony Joshua, after going through all these trainer changes, does what we expect a guy who won the gold in the Olympics to do to a guy with 2 professional fights. And that's knock him out silly and almost looked like he killed the man in the ring, Drew. And he was cold. Like, he didn't even go over there to see how the dude was. He had this look in his face like a crazy guy. Like I told you I'm a killer. I told you. He had no remorse. Let's look at that picture, Drew. Let's look at some of these pictures and give me your thoughts on this Anthony Joshua exciting highlight knockout of the year type performance. Look at this guy. Cold. No feelings. Drew, you with me?
Yeah, I'm with you. And I gotta say one thing: the AJ fangirls must have had an orgasm watching that.
He might have a lot of fangirls. I mean, even who was it today? Was it Timothy Bradley? I'm listening to Pro Box TV, and one of the 3 champs, Timothy Bradley, it definitely wasn't Polly. All right. They said, one of those guys, maybe it was Chris Algieri. It was Chris Algieri. He said, if I could design the perfect video game boxer, it would look just like Anthony Joshua. Is that a boxer man crush? I don't know. But you talk about fangirls. Hey, he must have definitely got them panties in a bunch or whatever. I don't even know the expression to say, but he must have got them ladies excited on Friday with a knockout like that. But what does it mean, Drew? What does it mean to knock out a guy with just 2 professional boxing fights?
I don't know. Like, Fury didn't take him seriously, and it cost him to look like shit and everything. AJ fought, take the fight, one up him and knock him out and everything. You did what you were expected to do. But, like, it doesn't change. Like, there's a thing. It doesn't really change anything about you, because when the next time you're facing adversity, how are you going to react to it? Are you going to act like you always act to it? Not be able to, what's going to happen when a fighter forces AJ to adjust, to make an adjustment during a fight again? Are we going to see the same AJ? Are we going to see Ben Davison not listening to his game plan and everything? People say, they're trying to use the triangle theory.
Of course, right.
And everything. He's going to knock Fury out. Usyk don't beat him now. Guys, 10 times out of 10, Alexander Usyk beats AJ.
I'll probably have to agree with you based on their age. I would have to agree with you. But this Anthony Joshua, he looks like the guy that stopped Tyson Fury at this point in his career. Tyson Fury being dropped all those times against Deontay Wilder, being a professional for over 15 years, showing a little bit of decline or major decline against Ngannou. Today, even Carl Froch says, I don't think Tyson Fury has got the same legs he used to have. His countryman in Froch is saying, I don't think Fury's got those legs anymore.
He might not. Well, we're gonna find out. We are. But I neither one of those fights were close, Nando. He looked better in the rounds that he won. He looked better in, and then Usyk responded back and changed the game plan, and AJ couldn't adjust to it. I had him losing 9-3 on both fights. This AJ is back to the version he was.
Is this the AJ that beat Vladimir Klitschko, the linear heavyweight champ? Or even better version?
Beatable.
What's that?
He was even beatable. He had a lot of weaknesses back then, AJ. And I just don't see. Here's the thing. And a lot of people said this. They don't think AJ's ever going to be world champion again. And like, I don't know. I can't say he's not going to ever be world champion again, depending on who's who's left and everything. There's always a chance. Like, he knows that there's a rematch clause with Fury versus Usyk. So the next sensible fight will be him versus Philip Rogachev.
Interesting you say that, Drew, because to me, the fight that makes absolute sense right now is the fight between two former world champions on win streaks, and that's Parker from Down Under versus Anthony Joshua, two fighters that are on tremendous win streaks, and Parker had to rally back from that fight. Drew, let's talk about Zalil Zhang, the 40-year-old who has a history of fading in the kind of the middle rounds, despite getting two clean knockdowns on Joseph Parker. Joseph Parker manages to steal this fight on the cards. What'd you think about that?
I had Joyce winning 9-3 with the two knockdowns and everything. So it was, the game plan was there. He had like 2 moments of lapses, which he got knocked down for.
The big left hand.
He kept with a game plan. It was really a superb game plan to have Zhang moving. And you tire him out. And like, a 1-2 punch combination for 3, and then you step back and reset yourself.
Which
and
you
move
did.
Around the ring and everything. They come chase you around the ring while you do this. I thought he beat AJ when he faced him, Parker. A lot of people think he did too. I would give him a good chance to beat AJ now, because I think Parker has become a well-rounded boxer with Andy Lee training him.
Yeah, I've seen the improvement in both fighters, guys.
Footwork.
Chicano Prophet says, hey, AJ is young enough to snag another trinket or two once the Usyk retires, Drew. And I'm starting to have these feelings that perhaps I could see AJ being a world champion again, especially once we get past these 2 fights that are going to be required of Usyk versus Tyson Fury. Drew, you mentioned the rematch clause. Anthony Joshua's got to find a dance partner. And like you said, he's already faced Parker. So maybe it is Hrgovic, one of the top contenders, who I think did not earn that win over Zalil Zhang. And quite honestly, even with this loss, I think Zalil Zhang merits a chance at a former world champion, another one, whether it's Joseph Parker or Anthony Joshua. I think he's better. I think he's a better opponent than Hrgovic or whatever I pronounce his name. But you're right. He'll probably get the nod.
There's a rematch clause with Parker and Zhang, and they're gonna fight again.
That's right. That's right. Actually, I missed that point, Drew. I did see that they've got in that it says here Zalil Zhang will be exercising his rematch clause. So it absolutely looks like Anthony Joshua's got to look down the line of contenders and pick out somebody that makes sense, maybe that's not going to jeopardize too much or take too much out of him. And that just might be who you said, Filip Hrgovic.
Yep.
So, Drew, let's talk about that featherweight fight really quickly. The featherweight fight. We just saw a brand new featherweight champion be crowned on Top Rank the week before. I'm talking about the guy from New Jersey. And I want to know what you guys in the chat think, because to me, it looked like Ray Vargas of Mexico barely hung out to that fight. It looked like a mismatch when we did the face-off, Drew. It looked like a full-size man fighting a child almost, but make no mistake about it. That guy came to win this title, Drew. And I want to know what you thought about that controversial split draw.
I thought he won. I thought Ball won the fight. I thought he clearly won the fight. I was like, I had an 8-4 knockdown. I think it was a knockdown. But I looked at it, and he was getting to him. He was getting inside. I thought he was the overall better fighter that night. And I thought Ball won the fight, clearly. I thought Vargas got away with a gifted draw. And there's got to be a rematch.
Yeah, I feel like all three of with the exception, obviously, of Anthony Joshua and Ngannou, but those two fights absolutely could and merit a rematch. By the way, Nando says that Ball is the white pit bull Cruz. Shorty is aggressive but unrefined. He was very aggressive in that fight, and I think that's what should have won him the fight. He pressed the action on the Mexican fighter. I mean, that's untypical. It's untypical of what we saw with Elvinato Lopez, the IBF featherweight champion, traveling across to Ireland and the UK to fight their very best, in Mick Conlan and such. It's untypical. This time, the Englishman took it to the Mexican fighter, and he wasn't awarded the nod. One I think would have been exciting for the featherweight division. It's always interesting to have a foreign across the seas featherweight champion. It makes for good entertainment for a Mexican to go back and forth. But now Ray Vargas keeps his title, Drew. Who gets the nod against him? Is he going to get it? Is he going to be able to secure a rematch? I don't think it was in that contract.
Probably not, but people gonna look at it that he deserves one, and if they offer him the right amount of money, I think Vargas would take it.
Yeah, but by the way, height-wise, do you think he'd be suited to go down to 122 if he could squeeze down there? I mean, he didn't seem to have any problem with Ray Vargas' height.
I think he could. But I thought, here's the thing. I think he said in an interview he feels better at 126. And he feels a lot better at 126.
Right. Drew, earlier I was talking about Zalil Zhang looking soft around the midsection, a little bit heavier than usual. I don't remember what the scale weight was, but I think it had it and played a factor on Friday in his stamina.
We gotta look at it like this, Dave. He weighed in at 291. So you mean he had to regenerate over 300 pounds. So let's just say he was at 305, 310 after rehydrating.
Beast.
And everything.
Beast.
I don't know what made him do that, but I thought that his trainer should have worked on his weight and everything. Zhang is more effective at 275.
I have to agree with you, Drew. It didn't seem to benefit him at all. He seemed to have these issues we've seen in prior fights where he seems to gas in the very important rounds. And Parker came on strong. Despite having a flash knockdown later in the fight and a solid, clean left hand he took, he just seemed to, like you said, execute a great game plan. And I think he, despite being dropped twice, should have edged this fight. So I think maybe the right person won on that. But I, for one, am still a big fan of Big Bang Zhang and would love to see him mix it up with any of those top 5 heavyweights. I would like to see him get a heavyweight shot, although he's got to go to the back of the line at this point. Drew, let's talk about this Canelo. Go ahead. Your final thoughts on Friday?
I tell you the truth, if you watch that fight, Joseph Parker looked at it and looked at Zhang was too predictable. His punch pattern. And Joseph was able to time him and work with what he had to work with, and it went to his advantage because it was very easily timed by Joseph Parker. And you move the guy around. If you make the guy move, if you're over the weight, got to tire him out.
I heard that. All right, guys, it's finally official in Las Vegas. It's time to make plans. It's time to make your vacation. It's time to book the room because you guys want to come to see this fight and hang out with your boy Dave in the 702. Canelo versus Jaime Murguia, an all-Mexican throwdown. Canelo's been saying for over a year that I will not fight any more countrymen, and somehow the public pressure, not only just to throw that notion out the window, but the public pressure to fight somebody, a quality 168-pound opponent. Don't fight Charlo, a washed-up Charlo middleweight. The pressure must have gotten to him. Not enough pressure for us fight fans to see David Benavidez, but Jaime Murguia nonetheless. And Drew, a big win for Al Haymon and PBC to manage to get this fight away from DAZN being the primary promoter, away from Eddie Hearn, whose butt hurt as all hell. A big win for Al Haymon in a PBC, it's not going to be the premiere because obviously March 30th at the end of the month is the PBC premiere on Amazon Prime Video. But nonetheless, they needed to get a big fight hey, first impressions matter the most, but you've already screwed that up. So you got to put something in there on PBC that's going to get the attention of a lot of people. And I'm hearing a lot of people say, oh, Dave, a lot of people in the U.S. aren't interested in an all-Mexican showdown. That's fucking bullshit. This is going to do fairly well, guys. And now it's time for us and Drew Evo's magical pay-per-view prediction numbers. Drew Evo, how many pay-per-view sales will this generate in the U.S. market?
I'm going to say the high 600, between the high 600K, 700K. But the thing about it is, this would probably be $80, and PBC might lose money over this if they don't be, because they need at least, if you're going to sell the $80 for the thing, you got to at least do 800. You got to do 800K and 20 million gate to break even.
They're going to get to $20 million gate. They are going to get the gate. Unlike Canelo versus Chavez Jr., I think they are going to get a gate closer to Gennady Golovkin. That's my feeling. By the way, Drew, you're coming in at 700,000. Ruli Ramundo says 750K, Drew. Remy comes in with 800,000. Mad Dog H says 700K. Sonteo Media says 700K. Chicano Profit with a sky high 900,000. Do I have 1 million? Do I got 1 million pay-per-view buys? I don't think so. Sin City Ginset says it's a garbage fight. We'll not get 1 million, but who cares? Because I think anywhere from 700 to 900K is solid. Now, if you choose to fight David Benavidez at the end of 2024 in September, then you just might hit that $1 million marker. And wouldn't that be something?
I look at it like this, Dave. People are still optimistic. I think everybody's got to start being optimistic. The fight's not going to happen. Like, Canelo is in the end part of his career where it's high reward, low risk. Just how it is. And, like, people got to accept that. Only problem is with Canelo, he wants to fight 5 more years, and he ain't going to fight 5 more years fighting the opponents he wants to fight.
No, not going to happen. That's
like,
2 fights per year.
Not that many names.
I mean,
many names.
5 years, that would probably include fighting Jake Paul if you literally stuck around for 5 years, you know?
But here's the thing, Dave. There's not really many opponents left for you to fight besides the top tier and everything that you're eventually are gonna, like, if you plan on fighting for 5 more years, you're eventually going to have to fight these guys, or just call it a day. Like, you gotta look at it like this. This is a new age of fucking pay-per-view and everything. People using the fire sticks and everything. When they see you're throwing a bullshit fight up, they're not going to pay for it. They're just going to watch it on that and say, fuck you. You think we're paying for a fight with that bullshit? And you want to try to steal our money? Fuck you.
Drew, I see our homeboy Sonteo Media in here, and I was reading an interview that took place with Robert Garcia. Robert Garcia, the former, trainer of the year, a fantastic trainer to many world champions. His theory on why Canelo will not fight David Benavidez is that his pride, Canelo's pride, trumps fan demand. And not only that, he points out that the $20 million difference that he would receive for picking to fight David Benavidez over Munguia quality or caliber opponent is just not enough for the risk to his legacy, to his brand, to his ego, to to all of those things. There's a $20 million for a guy whose net worth could be approaching $1 billion. It's just not enough to risk the embarrassment potentially. Now, Robert Garcia didn't say that. I'm saying that. It's just not enough money to risk a potential what? A potential stoppage loss, perhaps? A potential knockout? a
Here's
potential
the thing.
decision loss. I mean, it's just not enough to him. He can't take it. Shout out to my boy Packable, Ruli. Thank you everyone for joining us. Don't forget to smash that like button.
Here's the thing. They offer Canelo a 92-8 split that David would take $5 million just to fight him. And they were discussing it, and I guess nothing happened, supposedly, but you gotta look at it like this, man. If he's not fighting David Benavidez in September, he's never gonna fight him. It's just too much of a risk after that. Like, the more you wait, the more of a disadvantage you're at. The more of an underdog, the more of a chance you're gonna lose that fight. It's just that I don't think Canelo wants to do anywhere he can not to take another chance not to take another loss. Because you plan on fighting for 5 more years, what do you gotta do? Win. And
I mean, unless you plan on doing exhibitions like we're going to see, and we're going to get to the exhibition that's making me die of laughter right now. Drew, they think that it would have potentially have taken approximately $80 to $100 million over the base pay of Jaime Munguia for him to take the fight against David Benavidez. That is an absurd payday that has never, ever been seen in the sport of boxing. Top athletes in baseball and basketball, football, they dream about $100 million contracts over 7 years, right? I mean, Canelo's was potentially asking for that for one night's work. That's just unbelievable. Sorry, nobody's going to be able to pay for that. Ain't nobody going to be able to pay for that.
yeah, and the thing about it is, here's another reason why I think we're gonna head into another thing with Canelo not being happy that he's not gonna get paid what he wants for fighting who he picks and everything again. Because these companies that are holding this like Amazon Prime, they're gonna look at it like this. So, Al, you told Canelo you would give him $35 million to fight Jamal Charlo in September, right? And you want us to put it on pay-per-view at $80, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I think it's not gonna sell. I'm not putting nothing on pay-per-view that we're gonna lose money over. We're already gonna lose money over this Keith Thurman, Tim Tszyu fight. I'm not trying to lose more money while this dude goes away and gets paid what he wants and everything. That's why he had to try to sue Golden Boy and DAZN, because DAZN was not letting him pick his opponents. They were telling him, you want this type of contract, you gotta fight who we picked to fight. You gotta fight anybody we picked. He didn't like that. They were under the impression that there would be a third Triple G fight in that deal. That was years ago. He didn't want to fight Triple G then again. He said, I would never fight Triple G again. And they fucking told Triple G when he signed the contract with DAZN, we're going to guarantee you a Canelo fight. He didn't keep the end of the bargain until later on. That it was finally that it was like 5 years too late and everything. Triple G wasn't himself anymore. Yeah, I'm sorry. This is what we are expecting, and it's bullshit. And like, tell you the truth, like $60 with the description, my man. If it was Canelo, it was $60. So we gotta look at it like this: that people are gonna make excuses, like they did with Mayweather, and Canelo's gonna try to follow the same formula as Floyd Mayweather. And when he retires, when Floyd retired, boxing was put on life support. I believe when Canelo retires, boxing will just be breathing its last breath because of all the bullshit with other fighters and all the bullshit, and then this late career, high reward, low risk type of fights that he's probably going to do now. And unfortunately, this could be the end of prize fighting.
Wow. That's kind of a bold claim. Hey, Santelmina says Canelo hasn't had his normal training camps lately. He moved camps away from San Diego after he married. There's details we don't know, but in my opinion, he doesn't want to go into a Benavidez bout without being 100%. And Santiago, I'm glad you brought that up because I think the Canelo that is now training in South Lake Tahoe area or Lake Tahoe, those of you guys that are know about Lake Tahoe's high elevation and the beauty of Lake Tahoe in California on the Nevada border, I think it's a great fit for Canelo Alvarez and one that kind of reminds me of the fighters who would train in Big Bear Lake. I think it's a great move. And while we're on the subject of that, Drew, there's something regarding that Robert Garcia. His theory is that Eddie Reynoso is the manager of Alexander Zvodzik, the guy that David Benavidez is going to take on at light heavyweight, the former champion. This is fucking wild, but Zvodzik is the former sparring partner of Canelo Alvarez. A light heavyweight, a big light heavyweight, is the former sparring partner for 2 to 3 years he spent in Canelo's camp as one of his primary sparring partners. He seems to think that this is a test run. It's like intelligence data gathering to really find out what it's like to face David Benavidez, that maybe Canelo's actually not really eliminating the possibility of a David Benavidez fight, but to send out his primary sparring partner that's managed by Eddie Reynoso, that's part of Team Eddie Reynoso, to see, give me the report on this guy, and then I'll make a decision about fighting him. Robert Garcia seems to think we could be seeing a David Benavidez fight even potentially this year. Is that a pipe dream?
Could be a pipe dream. Like, I can't say nothing about it until it's actually made. Until they say after this fight that I'm fighting David Benavidez in September.
All right, we got a caller.
I don't want to hear.
Oh, sorry, Drew. Sorry to interrupt you. I wanted to invite our caller. We got the phone line open, 503. You're on the Shoe Shine with Drew and Dave.
What's up, fellas? It's the Chicano Prophet calling in.
You sound nice and crisp, Chicano Prophet. What do you have to say to Drew? Is he hating on anybody today?
Nah, not today, man. I think there's good thoughts all around, and it's good to look at Canelo's career from a totality perspective. Good to think about what it's going to be like when the legend, the torchbearer, the greatest fighter of this generation leaves. What is boxing going to look like? These are all great thoughts, but I'm being present. I'm going to be present. I'm pumped for this fight, just like you are, Dave. I'm glad you're going to be in the house. I wish I could go, bro. Like, this is going to be a fire fight, man. Mexican versus Mexican. We've been wanting it for a while. I can't even remember the last time there's been such a good, Mexican versus Mexican high-profile fight. Like, I'm going to enjoy this fight. Because you know what, Munguia is still, he's not David Benavidez, and we're definitely not going to be able to avoid the Benavidez topic. But dude, I'm telling you, this fight itself is going to be fun, bro. I'm thinking it's going to be awesome until it ends, bro. And we think, what do you think? This is going to end by knockout, right?
Well, I agree with you. I'm finally excited to see really how good the beard of Jaime Munguia is. We've seen Jaime Munguia's beard in action throughout his career against lower tier opponents. I'm finally excited to see against the elite fighter that is Canelo Alvarez. Will he go the distance? And if he does go the distance, do we have the makings of a Barrera Morales trilogy in the making? We haven't had that type of Vasquez versus, those type of trilogies, Drew. He's shaking his head. But Drew, let's be real. Jaime Munguia hurts Canelo, goes the distance. We've got the recipe for a trilogy again in Canelo's career potentially.
He's gonna get stopped in the 10th round. This is what's gonna happen. Canelo's gonna beat the balls off him so bad, and he's gonna take too many shots. And in round 10, they're gonna look at him, and they're gonna say, "I can't let you take no more shots. You're taking a beating, and you're not winning on these cards." We're going to stop it right here because you're taking too many shots. His eye's likely going to be shut by then, and they're going to call it.
We got people saying Sin City Syndicate says Cinnamon KOs Munguia inside 6. Drew thinks it's going to be in the late rounds. Sontel Media reminds us Munguia could not put away Gabe Rosado. Gabe Rosado, who was put away very easily by Gennady Golovkin and other fighters, but you never know what kind of fighter you're going to get in Gabe Rosado. Drew, I'm wondering, as you look past your head, if there's anything paranormal going on back there. What's going on? Is there a ghost back there? Good. So long as there's no ghost. Chicano, your thoughts on that? You think it's going to be a late stoppage by anybody? Obviously, probably you don't favor Canelo getting stopped.
Well, I'll tell you this. I think the later it goes, the more it favors Munguia possibly winning some late rounds. We saw Canelo lose some rounds against Ryder towards the end. Munguia is a young fighter, man. He's 27. He's not going to be weight drained. I think he looks better than ever. I've always been a Jaime Munguia fan. I think he's well-rounded. He's a guy who likes to come forward, and he has a high activity rate, okay? It benefits Canelo to slow the pace early, start ripping this dude to the body. But Munguia is not necessarily a back foot guy, although, you know what? I do think he's got very good foot movement. He moves around that ring really well, but he's better on the front foot, and I think it's going to be a battle as to, like, what's going to happen as far as that's concerned. And Freddie Roach knows how to march his guy down the line, and I think that's exactly what's going to happen. So it's going to lead to early fireworks. That's Munguia's best chance. And you know what? Like, we'll see what it's like when Munguia gets ripped to the body. He's got a nice chin, right? But how will his body hold up? That's what I'm curious about, and that's why I think that it probably will go like 6-7 rounds, something like that, man. But who knows? Like, I think this is going to be a good fight.
Do you think the body shots, Canelo's punishing body shots, are going to be part of his strategy early on to take the legs away from the young fighter?
You go to the body, you actually take away his movement. You make him a sitting duck. That you're going to force him to have to try to hit you from one spot, but you're on your feet. You got your footwork and everything. You got to get your angles on him and everything. But I just think this is going to be a late round stoppage.
All right, it seems to be the consensus. People think that Jaime Munguia is not going to make the final bell. I, for one, like I said, I'm happy the fight's going to happen. It's a quality opponent, somebody that could potentially be a rematch, at the very least a rematch if it's very competitive. The Gennady Golovkin fight was controversial. If we can get Jaime Munguia to make the final bell and walk away with 4 or 5 rounds, potentially we have a chance. Canelo wants to fight 2-3 years. He might want to throw in Jaime Munguia as an opponent again down the line. Could very well be. Hey, Chicano, I appreciate your calls, man. Are you going to be going to that March 29th fight in Arizona, the ESPN?
You know what? It's possible, man. And the last thing I want to say before I head out is also, Munguia has had controversial fights himself. People still talk about that Hogan fight. People tend to forget that one.
I did.
Right? A lot of people think maybe he could have lost to Deveryunchenko, So all I'm saying is, controversial fights exist, man. But you know what? I'm going to let you guys go. I'm enjoying the show, and I'll be listening the rest of the way. Peace.
I appreciate it, guys. We're going to take one more call real quick from our boy Lukey Boxing. Shout out to D-Style Boxing as we navigate into this weekend's fights. I'm going back to the fight. Shout out to my boy Fonzie. If you're not listening in the replay, Fonzie and Carol, we're going to be sitting close to ringside for a damn good fight. Damn good fight this weekend at the Cosmopolitan. 925, you're on the air with the Shoe Shine. What up?
What's up? It's Woof Woof.
It's Woof Woof. This is our boy Lukey in the building. We haven't talked to you in a minute, Lukey. Are you excited about this weekend's fight? I hope you're ready to talk about it. If you have any special insight on William El Camarón Zepeda versus Maxie Hughes, the guy that arguably should have got the nod against Kambosos. But what do you say?
I mean, look, anybody listening to this show is either going to tune into that fight or tune into their favorite platform to hear about that fight. But it doesn't take a genius to understand what this fight is. This fight is a fight for the hardcore fight fans. You got Maxie Hughes, who's coming off a hard luck, controversial, possibly bad decision. And you got William Zepeda, who's an exciting fighter who, probably is having trouble getting those fights he deserves. And I know I'm stating the obvious, but what does that equal in terms of fan engagement? Well, it means the hardcore fans are going to watch, and the people that aren't hardcore are going to watch bracketology, and they're going to go out for St. Patrick's Day. So, I mean, it's an interesting fight. It's a capable fight. It's a serviceable, good main event fight. But I think that people are going to pick their shots with boxing, as they do with many things on the weekends. And this might be one where the media outlets carry the coverage for this fight, because unless you're a hardcore fan of Zepeda, I could see some people skipping this, and I could see next week people skipping, and then you get a lot of big fights the following week. So, I don't know. Like, to me, this just William Zepeda, to me, these are the fights that you expect a guy like Zepeda. He's had one off night in the COVID fight.
I do remember
the greatest, but I mean, Zepeda's, it was a weird ring too. I think it was Munguia versus Demetrius Ballard's undercard, but like typically when you have a guy like Maxie Hughes, right, and they have a great performance, the hardest thing about guys like that, like what did Chicano Prophet brought up Dennis Hogan, right? And the sad thing about the Dennis Hogan Jaime Munguia thing is guys like Dennis Hogan tend not to put two good fights together. So when they have that one great night, that's their great night. And when they don't get the decision, it kind of stings. We've seen that with Kambosos. He had that one great night with Teofimo. He's kind of struggling to have that next great night. It's hard for me to believe, though I like Maxie Hughes, that he's going to be able to put two great fights together back to back, just because the history of boxing says when you fight these top level guys, these young emerging guys that are so promising, guys in his position struggle to have that consecutive, those two good performances back to back. So for me, I don't know the outcome, but I think that Zepeda has to look promising in this fight. I'm probably talking too much, but that's how I see this fight.
My boy Sin City Syndicate in the chat just posted that there's $50 tickets for Zepeda versus Hughes. And just weeks ago, I contemplated going to see this Conor Benn shenanigan fight at the same venue, the Cosmopolitan, and they had not even ringside seats. I think they were going for $300. Why the disparity in pricing when Zepeda versus Hughes is so much more of a quality fight, one with a lot on the line? Zepeda is a contender at the 135-pound division. Zepeda is the kind of guy that I'd like to see fight somebody like Shakur Stevenson, because I really don't think that if you put the right Mexican-type fighter against Shakur Stevenson, I don't think he can keep running all night. I just think there's going to be a guy that's going to finally catch up to Shakur Stevenson. Maybe I'm crazy, maybe I'm not. But Drew, do you think that there's anything Hughes can do? Lukey brought up a great point. Dennis Hogan had the fight of his life in Guadalajara against Jaime Munguia. He should have gotten the nod, but he doesn't get the nod. And those type of fights, does the guy get to relive that and then have that same kind of performance against someone he shouldn't beat? Is he going to show up, beat Zepeda on the cards, and obviously not get the nod again? Or maybe he's just not going to be able to fight like that.
I think he's going to have to make this a rough fight for Zepeda. Like, he's going to have to pull the tricks out of his book, with like grabbing, getting inside to block those high volume shots and everything. Make it a phone booth fight. Do everything you gotta do.
I would love to see a phone booth fight between those two guys. You think that's going to help to his advantage?
It may not, but the thing about it is you got to make it rough for Zepeda. Your goal is, if you think you're not going to get a clear decision, then make him look as bad as possible.
Very interesting.
Did he mention you?
Yeah, Lukey, you mentioned this fight. The only fight that we've seen is kind of a blemish. I remember that fight you're talking about, Zepeda. He came in kind of cold, and he got knocked down, kind of embarrassed against another Mexican fighter. It seemed to be he wasn't warm enough, or maybe there was an issue with the ring. But aside from that, he's been on point. He broke a record for lightweight for the most punches thrown in a fight by a lightweight. Are we going to see that type of performance again as he steps up in competition against Maxie Hughes? We're going to get 100 punches per round from William Zepeda?
I mean, look, it's no mystery what Zepeda's going to do. And I think the thing with him is if you don't have power, it's going to be hard to keep him off of you because his will is undeterred. I think the big question mark for me is, and I'll say it, a lot of people won't because they either don't watch boxing or they just don't make opinions that matter to the fans, right? So they'll try to give you a real neutral, boring opinion, and that's why we get boring coverage from time to time. Maxie Hughes is a dirty fighter at times. He'll throw his elbows, he'll lead with his head. That's part of what he does. And I mean, for him to make this an interesting fight, I think he has to use roughhouse tactics and dirty tactics like power punches because his record doesn't show that he has power. He's kind of more of a boxer. That's a guy that Zepeda is going to feel comfortable walking down and throwing a lot of punches against a guy moving backwards. So it's going to take some lenient rules and some roughhouse tactics for him to make Zepeda respect those type of tactics like power shots. That's what I see.
All right. I'll just ask you right now, who wins this fight and by what fashion?
I think Zepeda wins it. Everything tells you he should win it. His promoter promotes the fight. It's a WBA and IBF eliminator fight, so it puts him in position, I believe, for 2 world title shots. And, I mean, just the trajectories of the careers. You know, this feels like a good place. Maxie's fought himself too, but it feels like Zepeda's still trending upward. I do think a proud fighter like Maxie Hughes is not going to get stopped. I think the victory for him in this fight will be to go all the rounds. So I think it'll be a quality main event. I really hope as the fight gets closer, Maxie Hughes is coming into this fight, and I don't see why you wouldn't, because he kind of reminds me of Scott Quigg in the sense that he always comes to win. But I really want to see Maxie Hughes with a chip on his shoulder and a will to win, because the more confident he is, the more excited I'll be for this fight. So I think that not that people hear big press conference people or they like that, but I think this is an interesting press conference to watch because Zepeda is kind of like one of the worst press conference guys. He never really is that interesting, but he's an exciting fighter. But I think watching Maxie Hughes and seeing how he makes sense of the Kambosos fight. Is he content to just be there? Is he fighting with a chip on his shoulder? Is he what are the temperaments and demeanors and his level of confidence heading into this? I think those are interesting beats to watch for in the press conference and the weigh-in, and that will determine my level of interest in this fight.
All right, guys. I was going to ask Drew. He stepped away, guys. I think I'm going to see a stoppage. I think William Zepeda is getting the late stoppage. I think he's going to break down Maxie Hughes. I hope it's a sold-out crowd. It seems like it's going to be a very nice local crowd. Maybe some out-of-town people easily could sell out 3,000 seats at Cosmopolitan. If you're in town, like Sin City Syndicate, hey, snag up a $50 ticket. I'll see you at the fight. All right, Lukey, while I have you on, Pro Box is putting on a very interesting light heavyweight fight this Wednesday night. I can barely pronounce his name. Kalajic, who I've seen fight.
Hot Rod.
Yeah,
exactly. We'll call him Hot Rod.
He goes by that name, and I've seen him fight recently on Pro Box, and he's taking on 42-year-old Sullivan Barrera, who's fought the who's who of the light heavyweight division, 42 years old and still fighting?
Yeah, I mean, it happens, you know. Look, we got 2 older guys. They both can punch a bit, and they both know what to do, and they're not going to be able to get away from each other. Right? So this should be a good action fight where you got 2 guys, as I said before, good power, maybe not the fastest feet at this point in their careers. And that leads to a fight that when you tune in, you don't know what corner you're going to see, you know, or you don't know who's going to win. So we're tuning to the Golden Boy card, and I think most people are going to expect to see Zepeda win. You're tuning into this fight, people might look at Hot Rod and go, he's the younger guy, he should win. But Sullivan Barrera, I'll call him Sully B because I know him as Sully B. He's a very experienced fighter, and Hot Rod's coming off of that Better Beeb knockout. He's trying to avenge kind of like the demon.
Yeah, you mentioned that. He's faced the very best. He's got that experience with Better Beef. And Sullivan Barrera was a world champion, right? Or world champion contender. I forget I know he's been in the business a long time. Guys, I think I lost Lukey too. You still with me, Lukey? Well, I think I lost, guys. I appreciate Lukey Boxing coming on. I think I lost him just now. We were talking about, obviously, Pro Box on Wednesday night. I appreciate everybody joining us. I see my boy Lukey. I see some of you talking football. Yes, there's big trades, big rumors, lots of stuff going on. The NFL draft will be coming upon us pretty soon before you know it. And obviously, right now is a great time to be thinking about our teams going forward and how they're going to rebuild or add to their arsenal. In my case, the 49ers coming up short. A lot of people excited about what trades might be happening. So probably doing a football show soon. Again, thanks a lot for everybody that's called tonight. Lukey Boxing, make sure you follow him on YouTube. This Wednesday night card, hey guys, it looks like a good one. You've got someone who's got the experience against Better Biev and Sullivan Barrera. I think, if I remember, did he fight Andre Ward? Drew, your opinion on Sullivan still fighting? He's 42. Didn't he fight Andre Ward?
Yeah.
I mean, like, my wife saw the thing. She's like, didn't he fight Andre Ward like 10 years ago? Yes. Andre Ward defeats Barrera. Damn. Just to think, like, if Andre Ward was still fighting, like, Sullivan Barrera's still doing it, Why did Andre Ward retire so young? I mean, he obviously he had to have had some more good fights, but yes, I absolutely remember the Barrera fight against Andre Ward, and some of you might want to go watch Hot Rod against Beterbiev. Drew, he's got that experience in there too. These guys are no slouches.
Nah, like I don't know, like I guess he accomplished everything he wanted to accomplish. So 2 division champion. So.
Yeah, the Wednesday night, free on YouTube, guys. Make sure you watch that. We're almost up on the hour, but I did want to talk about one last thing, guys. Couple things that are just kind of nuts. The things that they get so much attention. Obviously, I'm going to be talking about the last thing I want to talk about is Ryan Garcia and another chaotic week, and whether or not we're going to get that fight April 20th. He's saying the fight is on. I'm not going to talk about anything for the next 5 weeks other than boxing. But Drew, he continues to go on social media using TikTok where you're allowed to like put emojis and funny shit on people's heads. And you're here trying to give a speech about child sex trafficking and child rape and Satanists. And the Grove, or the Bohemian Grove in Northern California, that he's there and he's got receipts, and that he was victimized. Bro, he is so fucking out of it, this guy. And he even says, they tried to put me away. They tried to lock me up. They've taken my shit, this and that. I've got receipts, but he's not going to show anything.
Be honest with you, I don't think any athletic commission can give him a license.
You think they should have a mental competency test before they allow you to fight in a major state?
We're gonna have a fucking Alvin McCall incident again if we let him fight. Have you heard rumors that he pulled out already?
So Drew,
fucking rumors.
Yeah, here's my deal. I don't ever want to make light of a situation like sex trafficking. This week I read. And I read a lot, guys. I just always have. Since I was a little kid, I still read newspapers. If you give me a newspaper, I'll read it from front to back. But Drew, they are saying that basically Immigration Customs Enforcement knows that immigrant children that have been placed in certain homes in the U.S., they've lost tracking of these children. There's something to what Ryan Garcia is saying about child sex trafficking. They don't know where these little immigrant kids are that they registered, took information on, placed them in homes in America, and now the kids are gone. They just don't know where they are. Children. Okay?
Yeah, but
I ain't saying, Drew, I'm not saying that child sex trafficking doesn't happen, but Ryan Garcia basically is saying this week that he was raped as a 2-year-old. And yet nobody wants to stick on that. Ryan, if I could talk to Ryan, if you were a victim of sexual abuse as a child, that's starting to make sense for a lot of things about your erratic behavior. Because I actually have known people who've been sexually abused as children. Some of them have turned out quite well, and some of them don't. And it absolutely can make sense as to why you're battling mental health issues if that happened to you. But don't just come out and just be like, and then say, I got receipts, this and that, and then just, I ain't going to talk about it anymore.
I'm sorry, but he's looking for attention. I'm sorry, that's what he's looking for. But here's the thing. That's a mental illness too. But say all that fucked up shit just for attention.
Drew, if it's all bullshit, if he's not a victim of sexual abuse, then he's suffering from potentially schizophrenia. And if he's got these like mild schizophrenic symptoms, he should just stop fighting. He should stop fighting.
Here's the thing. He's looking for a way out. I'll tell you this right now. If I'm Oscar, I would not let him fight. If I was New York Athletics Commission,
it seems like they're just too in too deep with ticket sales now. They do have Arnold Barboza ready to go, a quality opponent and whatnot. Yeah. But honestly, like the more I hear Ryan speak, the more I think he is suffering from mental health issues. Now I really believe him. I don't know what to believe about the stuff he's saying that he's a victim of sexual assault. That's some heavy shit. If it's true, you really don't need to be fighting.
Here's the question here. What's to say Devin Haney's going to fight Barboza? He might say, hey, I'm pulling out altogether too. Fuck this. I'm not fucking taking a fight with him on fucking a couple weeks' notice and everything. I was training.
Well, his daddy, I'll tell you what, I was amused. Bill Haney got into it with Broner, and it seems that Bill Haney would rather see Devin Haney fight as a last-minute opponent, Adrian Broner, than take on a fight with Arnold Barboza.
But they don't pick who the replacement guy is. Golden Boy picks the replacement because it's promoted by Golden Boy, not Matchroom. Right. So Oscar has Barboza on hold. That's not going to happen. Devin Haney will pull out. If Ryan Garcia pulls out, and he said, for like 2 weeks, and say Barboza's new opponent, no, fight's off. I'm not fucking wasting my time. You push the fight back a couple weeks. You give me fucking at least 5 more weeks to train for him and everything.
Right.
I'm not fighting him in 2 weeks' notice. Now, you gotta give me 5 weeks, push it back 5 weeks, or I walk away and everything. And you want to know what will make it, who will look bad on this? Golden Boy, because of Ryan Garcia again. And I'm sorry. Oscar gotta put his foot down. You gotta cut this dude. You gotta cut ties with him and sue him for breach of contract. He's fucking up your money. He's not doing what he's obligated to do. He's fucking bad mouthing you on social media and everything. And he's doing this, pulling this bullshit now. So if I was Oscar, I cut ties with him and sue him for breach of contract. And if anybody wants to buy his contract off of you, you're giving me at least $25 million. Because I put a lot of money in this kid. You're going to give me my money. You're going to give me at least a good portion of my money back I invested in him. It's Ryan Garcia should have nothing to do with boxing. Because he doesn't take his sport seriously, and he expects to have hand-me-downs. So at the end of the day, I'm sorry if anybody feels some type of way. I don't give a flying fuck. But he's doing this for attention, and the shit that he's talking about, it pisses me off, and it pisses a lot of people off because a lot of people right now are going through that shit, and you're using it just to get attention with it, and it's bullshit.
Damn. Something I mean, it says Broner went super low, naming Alicia's plugs to get back at Bill Haney. I'm usually down with Broner, but that crossed the line. And guys, I'm just seeing this, these postings of what Adrian Broner did, calling out what is he doing? Talking about guys that Alicia smashed. Oh,
Damn, I'll smash too. Fuck it.
Drew says, "What about me? What about me? Include me on the list."
You know,
Chicano says it's disgusting. Wow.
White should never go back.
Yeah, well, this is all new to me. I haven't been following it. It happened in the past week. Obviously, Alicia Bumgarner going after AB, and Bill Haney having his own choice words with Adrian Broner. For a guy who hasn't won really a match in over 5 or 6 years, a good quality opponent, Adrian Broner seems to still know how to inject himself into the social media and get clicks. So I don't know. Maybe is AB trying to fight Alicia? Is he trying to fight Devin? Who's he trying to fight? He's just trying to get a payday. About people. I just saw some of the comments about burgers should shut up at this point about burgers. Drew, going back to the Ryan Garcia thing. If I could speak to Ryan Garcia, okay, he mentioned on social media that he's earned $100 million in his career so far as a 25-year-old Drew, and that he's on track to have a net worth of, or be worth approximately $1 billion. Okay. That's not going to happen in your lifetime if you don't live long enough, Ryan. So if you're truly worth $100 million and you are suffering from these issues that you're starting to bring to light, the one that you mentioned this week, that you're a victim of sexual abuse yourself. Okay.
Who did it?
He don't want to talk about it. He let you know, and then he stops talking about it. He says, I won't be talking about this stuff anymore. Listen, if any of this stuff is true and you're suffering from mental health, which you yourself have said you suffered from mental health and you had to pull out of a fight prior 2 years ago. Remember that? Everyone remembers that. Then he went and got married on the beach in Hawaii. There's really no reason you should be taking any punishment to the most important thing about you is your brain. There really is no reason to continue fighting. So think long and hard about what you're going to do with your boxing career after this, because I want you to enjoy that. I'm not hating on another Latino. I want you to enjoy that $100 million, that $1 billion with your children. But there ain't going to be no future if you end up like one of these tragic fighters of the past, like Arturo Gatti, who had substance abuse and nobody knows who killed him or if his wife killed him. Or other fighters like Hector Camacho, who was shot as a drug addict in Puerto Rico because he had substance abuse issues and mental health issues. I don't want to see your name amongst those lists of tragic fighters whose lives ended shortly, even though they accomplished so much. If it's true, if you're worth all that money, if you've got these issues, I wouldn't give a fuck if you walked away from the sport with your head on your shoulders. Now, going to the last thing I want to talk about, Drew, is the news that Mike Tyson is going to fight Jake Paul. Oh, man. Influencer boxing, exhibitions. Is the state of Texas going to actually make this a legit fight? 57 years old, legend like Mike Tyson.
Exhibition. They're not going to license a 57-year-old.
An exhibition. And at the AT&T, at the home of the Dallas Cowboys, well, how many seats can you sell an exhibition for? Jake Paul and Mike Tyson.
I don't know.
Will this flop?
I'll be honest with you, Dave. I'm not even sure if he's going to get approved anyway, even for an exhibition. Like, I just don't get it. I don't think he's going to get a license for an exhibition unless it's headgear.
All right, and lastly, Sin City Syndicate says Ryan Garcia will sign a huge deal with a podcast after boxing. Shout out to Little Penny, who told me to go listen to that interview, and that big podcaster, whatever his name, PBD. Supposedly he's in Ryan's ear now as some kind of advisor, giving him advice. Maybe he will make a great, fantastic podcast host, especially if he can relay his experiences to people in a cohesive manner and talk about his struggles. But right now, I don't see it. I don't see him showing up to work every week doing a podcast of any sort, because I just don't see that he has that ability. Drew, you gotta need money. You gotta need money to do the same shit over and over and over again. And if he don't need money, Lord knows if he would show up to film a podcast every week. But we never know. We never know.
He'll be like this on his podcast. I wish I poured out on that bitch.
That's his first topic. Yo, if you didn't see, I'm sorry, guys. Last Monday, I tried to play that fight he had with Jake Paul. I thought him and Jake Paul and his brother from way back were boys, and apparently now they can't stand each other.
Well, you know, who the fuck can stand who anyway?
So Del Media says, hey, did the exhibition of Tyson versus Roy Jones have headgear?
No.
That did not, but it was in the state of Florida, and Lord knows Florida's the home of bare knuckle fighting for crying out loud. Anything goes in the state of Florida. Just about anything goes there, Drew. All right, guys, I'm Dave in the 702, Philly Irish Dreeva. What do you say, Drew? You got another show in you this week? I know we let the fans down last Thursday. We got one more in us?
I don't know. It depends how I'm feeling. I had to go away for a second and everything, but...
Yeah,
depends how the fuck I'm feeling.
I hear you. I appreciate everybody rocking with the Shoe Shine on Monday night. Like I said, make sure you tune in next Monday because I'm going to the fight. I'm probably going to vlog it. Shout out to my boys Fonzie and Carol. I'll be sitting close. I'll be sitting. I might be sitting behind Oscar and Holly for all I know. Yeah, I might be sitting behind Bernard Hopkins, Drew, for all I know.
Give the bunny ears. Do the bunny ears.
So I'll see you guys next Monday. Make sure you tune in for that. Drew Evo. We'll see you guys next week. Peace out.